Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Eileen Brewer, and I'm the director of the TAKWEEN Accelerator. We're based at the American University of Iraq in Suleimani in the Kurdistan region of Iraq. Tonight, we're very excited to have with us 3 founders who are all female, who all come from Iraq, and they're working very, very hard on building businesses and getting them up and running. And for those of you outside of Iraq, sometimes we get this really nice global attendance from the UK and America and other places. I want to say, yes, we do have female founders here, and they are amazing, and they're working very hard. And one of the goals for our webinar today is to encourage more women to become founders. Sometimes we think that maybe we can't do it because of the culture that we're in, or because of the education we have or don't have. We sometimes will put blocks up in front of ourselves that aren't necessarily true. So by talking to some of the female founders who have successful businesses in the country, will hopefully encourage and inspire more of you to become founders and to share a little bit about the support that you can get in the country. So the TAKWEEN Accelerator is a program that provides training to startups that already have businesses. So these 3 founders have all been through the TAKWEEN Accelerator and received training from us. If you're still at ideation stage where you have an idea, you're not sure if it'll make a good business, you haven't started your business yet, then it would be great to go to one of the incubators in the country. In Iraq and Kurdistan, we have Orange Corners, 51 Labs, CWAS, the station in Baghdad and in Mosul, and a few others, Top Mountain, and a few others that are available. So if you're at ideation and just starting, then take some of the great tips you're going to hear today in the panel, and then think about going to an incubator or a co-working space to get some of that beginning training. And then once you have a business up and running, or if you do right now have a business up and running, male or female, then look at the TAKWEEN Accelerator and apply to one of our programs. We offer 2 or 3 different types of programs for different levels of startups. So our intensive accelerator is for the more advanced startups, but we also have a pre-accelerator. We have that cohort running right now. And then we have a digital readiness program that's another more entry-level step. If you're just coming out of an incubator and you need a little bit of help with social media or your digital assets, you can look at our digital readiness program. The next program we'll be running right after the pre-accelerator, we will have applications open in December for a female founder showcase, and we're very excited about that. We'll be looking for all the top female founders around the country to bring them together and have a training program specifically for them, in focusing a lot on sales pipeline and how to pitch to investors, considering the majority of investors in this region are male. It's like, how do we take that female presence and put it in front of male investors so that we can talk about things that they want to hear about and increase that investment opportunity? So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get our panel started. We're going to start by having each one of these ladies do what we call a 30-second elevator pitch. So the elevator pitch means that you only have 30 seconds because you're on an elevator ride with somebody else and you want to tell them about who you are, but you only have a couple of floors in an elevator ride with a stranger to tell them who you are. So we go with your name, the name of your startup, and the problem that you're solving. So I'm going to ask each one to do their elevator pitch now. We'll start with Lana.
Thank you, Eileen. I am Lana Haddad. I'm the founder of Orbirium, the first Iraqi game creator. We provide games with educational and entertaining background that connects local heritage and culture. But more importantly, we want to improve the entertainment industry here in our country. We are currently selling 40 games per month now, and you can find us in 3 cities, Baghdad, Erbil, and Suleimania. And in each city, we have 2 selling points. And also you can order our games from Lezo, which is also a successful startup here.
Excellent. I personally ordered my game from you through Lezo and had it delivered to my house. Thank you. So 40 games a month, that's great to hear. And Dia, let's hear about you. Tell us about your business.
Thank you, Ellie. My name is Dia. I'm the founder of Dia's Healthy World. We provide apple cider vinegar for now, which improve your health. And you can find us at Suleimani for now. And we have delivery for other cities. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much. And about how many bottles per month are you shipping? Or selling?
You mean shipping for other cities or selling?
Let's just say selling. Like how many are you selling, regardless of where?
Okay. About 100 bottles
a month. Wow, that's outstanding. That's great to hear. Thank you very much. And Huda, let's hear from you.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Huda Sarhang, and I am the founder of Lala Candles. Lala Candles is a candle making startup business in Kurdistan region, established in 2017 in Erbil, and we create unique candles inspired by culture and also by the daily life by the daily things in our life. We also provide white labeling service, which is a unique service we provided for companies and NGOs and so many other people interested in specific custom-made candles. And we sell across Iraq. We have 4 selling points in Erbil and 1 selling point in Baghdad. We also sell through Lezo, like Urbilum. We sell through Lezo online and also through our website recently. And we also sell, let's say, on monthly basis, we sell more than 300 candles every month. That's except for the white labeling projects that we receive every month.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the reason why I wanted to bring it up to the audience right away about the quantities that you're doing is because these are not hobbies. These are businesses. These are substantial volumes. Imagine making 40 to 300 of your product and shipping it out every month consistently with high quality and on-time delivery and accurate invoicing. So this is not, we're far beyond hobby stage. These are businesses. They're very successful businesses doing really, really well in either their local region or currently growing outside of those regions. So sometimes it's a little challenging for women when they're in their home environment and they're trying to convince or tell their family they're going to start a business, because our culture sometimes doesn't perceive that this is the role for women. So I'd like to talk a little bit about, I'll start with you, Lana, and then we'll ask Dia, share the differences about your family's reaction of when you started your business to now.
I was planning, and my family was like, oh, okay, she's doing a culture project. But then when I was going deeper into the subject and I started to understand it can be developed to a business idea and that it has high potential. So I took it more seriously and I gave more efforts into it and of course more time. And my family started to think really, you want to sell games? You want to create games? Do you think it's how do you want to sell games? I mean, this is not working. So they were kind of to spend more time into it without bringing money back home. So this was like, how are you doing something where you are putting so much effort and money into it, where you need to wait for months that it brings you back money? But then when they saw when I really started to sell and the reaction of the people, they started to see how important it is and that it is actually working and making a little change in the society. So from now on, I actually have their support very much, and they come and call me, oh, friends of me, I talked about your game and they want to order. So now they are my selling partners too.
That's awesome. Thank you. And Dia, how about you? How has your family reacted from when you first started to now?
At the beginning, when I started my business, my family feared because it was time of Corona and financial crisis. And due to their fear, they told me to do not start because people will not buy apple cider vinegar in this time. But I did my best to convince them to, which is, I will be success. I love this. I can do my best to convince people to buy my product. And now they are excited to see my small business in this level, and they support me every time.
Oh, that's great. And now you're shipping or selling like 40 bottles a month at least. So that's great news. So Huda, let's talk a little bit about in the culture between the difference that you see in the culture between men and women starting businesses, and talk a little bit about how you overcome some of the reactions that you hear out in the community and when you're talking about your business.
In general, in Kurdistan region and Iraq, it is very challenging for males and females to start a business and to have it as a sustainable one. However, it's double and triple challenging when you are a female. The reason is that we are in a male-dominated society, and most of the time that we are not taken seriously. That maybe we don't know much about business, that we don't know much about how to manage and lead our finances and to be independent. So that was one of the challenges I faced. Luckily, not through my family. My family was supportive in this. They had another different way looking at my capacity as a person, but to convince the society that you are coming front with a business idea that is unique and you can do it and you can actually generate income out of it, it was challenging. How I personally overcame with it, I will be honest, I was very patient, very. And that happened through basically proving that I can do it through numbers, through the sales that I am actually making. When they were saying that this is a hobby, she is just a woman doing, she has a soft new idea, handcraft, and so on and so forth. However, when you show them numbers, you show them that I have employees. Now I have 3 employees. I have a space that I opened. I am selling 300 candles a month. I receive big projects from big companies. Last project that we have done was 1,000 candles for Correct Telecom company. That's amazing thing. So this is numbers. When you show them, hey, see, these are the numbers that I am having, and documenting them, this is how I try to overcome. However, there are still things that they are still challenging. For example, when I go to the local market, if I want to buy something specific from the suppliers, it's better if I have my husband with me or one of the staff members with me, so that they will not take me for granted in terms of prices, although they know that I know the actual prices. This is still challenging.
Wow.
But when you have supportive staff and, let's say, family members, it makes it easier for you, and I mean, you can overcome it somehow. Yeah.
Yeah. So Lana, you are building games, and so you're having other businesses actually manufacture or produce your games. So what have some of those negotiations or conversations been like as a female? I'm assuming the majority of the time you're having to talk to males in those spaces.
That's especially in the beginning, it was like the most difficult part of it to find a printing house that can really do it. Yani, I think in all Kurdistan, I went to one house after the other to ask, and every time get the same question, because these heavy machines to produce such packaging, cards, paper material, etc., is completely missing in the country. And I hope that future startups will focus on this, that we are not depending on importing this from neighboring countries. So here I used really my network at the end to find a trusted printing house, to know, okay, where I can have a communication with them, because I need to trust them that they have the right communication with the outside companies. So this is like really the network of a friend and a friend. So it was also, again, male dominate this whole field, like printing houses are all controlled by men. And my second time, and the difficult was also like negotiation, etc. But also like it was my first experiences going in this business and dealing also with a higher amount of money and orders, etc. But for my second game, I actually remembered that I know a woman who works in a printing company, who used to live in Erbil but left to Tehran. So I started to communicate with her for the second game, and I found it, I must say, much easier to talk to her and make the deals. It doesn't mean that there were no problems, etc., but this is normal, because when you produce something, there are misunderstandings, etc. But in general, the communication was much easier with her than before, because it also was kind of like more friendlier and not like only business focused. Like, she was interested to support me, and I was very happy that I would have a woman to talk to me. So this was really an amazing experience. So that's why I'm hoping that more women also going into this field, which is also like more tech based.
Right.
But this was a great experience to compare, like dealing with a man or with a woman in this field.
Yeah. I agree. I have dealt with both, and it's always a little bit easier when you can communicate with somebody who there's mutual respect in both directions, and there's not this like condescension or this feeling that you're having to prove yourself as you're in those communications. So for all the men out there who are listening, we're asking you to think about the language that you use and the way you hold your body or the way you speak to women who are coming to you. They have businesses, they need to buy supplies, they need financial support or others, but to think about them as a business person and not a difference that because you're male, you're higher than or smarter than. That's just not the case. And so sometimes we need to break the molds of what we've been hearing as we grow up in certain cultures and support everyone around us who's trying to increase the private sector. So all of this is about increasing private sector, which increases employment and reduces the need to depend on government jobs. So if you support anyone in your ecosystem that is trying to build businesses, then just look at it from that perspective, that we all need to support anyone who's trying to build businesses, just in general, and not to be too judgmental or have an opinion about what they're doing, but just ask, what can I do to help you? It's a little bit mind shift of where we are today, but it will really help everybody in the country move faster into supporting the private sector. So Dia, let's talk a little bit about your financing, because when you are making a product, you don't have customers yet, but you need to make your product, you need to develop it, you need to have labels, you need to make it look very professional. So how were you able to finance yourself in the beginning before you started having paying customers?
Okay. Before I worked for a place and I got only 100 per month. I was always save 20% monthly, collecting all the 20%. At the beginning, when I started, only I used 50,000 for my business at the beginning, and I was financing my business when I didn't have any customers, just by this collecting money. We all know that money is important to start a business, but also you can start it by a pocket money. And you don't need a lot of money to start your business if you have an idea.
That's right. Great. And I'd like to ask any of you about market research. Let's talk about exactly what Dia was talking about. Like, you can do a lot around figuring out what you should bring to market without spending any money by doing some market research. Who would like to share a little bit about market research experience? Like, if you did it, what did you do? What did you learn? If you didn't do it, did you wish you did it because you learned things afterwards? Who would like to speak on this?
I can go answering that question. In my case, yes, I did market research, but it was to a certain level. So it was not in a costly way. I used social media platforms, did surveys, and did small focus groups with friends, families, people that I know. And also I actually visited the local market to see, like, marketplaces that I am familiar that they are selling candles. What are their options? What do they lack in terms of quality, designs, quantity, you know, these things. So I had, I used these means so that I understand where's the gap in the market related to this specific product that I am interested in bringing into it. So I did a lot of surveys on Facebook, asking people on Facebook, on Instagram, asking my surrounding, what are they interested in, what they would like to see in the market as candles, in terms of quality, in terms of scents, in terms of designs. These things all helped me. However, of course, if I had more knowledge, or if I had been through courses or programs, I'm sure I would have been able to make better market research. But that simple market research really helped me to understand what we lack and what we can bring into the market. So it really helped, and it was not costly. It was for free, just going to the places and see around what's there, asking people, talking to people. So yeah.
Right. Very good. Thank you. And who else would like to talk about market research? Dia, did you do any market research, or did you wish that you had because after you built your product, you realized you needed to change it or anything like that?
I didn't do market research, but I wish I had it.
You wish you had?
When I started, yeah, but when I started, I learned many things to do market research.
Yeah.
If someone wants to start their business, I advise for them to do market research.
Oh, that's great. So yeah, Lana, go ahead.
The funny thing is, like, I learned about market research later when I was taking trainings. But the funny thing is, because I said in the beginning, my project started as a culture project. So I actually did a market research, but it was like a culture research, because I went to places to see, okay, where and when are people playing games? And then I saw what is available on the market and where do the games are sold, like supermarket stationaries, and there are game shops, etc. And I saw like how the price differences are and the themes that they are. So it was for me interesting, because later on I understood, like, I actually did a market research, but I didn't structure it in a way to focus on sales, etc., but also more on availability, what is actually available in the market. Yeah. So if I would do it now again, I would focus also more on the financial part, and this I didn't do.
So what I heard from all three of you is that market research is important, and that if you had a chance to do it again, you would do it slightly different than what you did the first time. The reason why I bring this up and emphasize it is because regardless, male or female, any startup, the number one reasons startups fail, number one reason, no product market fit. So the founder felt like they had a brilliant idea and a brilliant solution, but they didn't ask anyone. And they went and they built it, and they spent money building it and a lot of time and effort building it. And then they take it to market because there's this belief, if I tell you ahead of time, someone's going to steal my secret, someone's going to steal my idea, and they're going to make it before me. The reality is, when you do market research properly, you're not giving away your idea or your secret. If you think that your brilliant idea is something like, I need to make red shoes, you do not go out and ask people, will you buy red shoes? What you do ask is, how often do you buy shoes? What colors do you like? How much money do you spend on shoes? Where do you go to find your shoes? Are there any shoes that you wish you could find that you don't find? So you're not telling anybody about what your idea or your solution is, but you're getting very valuable information so that you build the right product, and it will teach you about what the market really wants, so that you avoid one of the biggest reasons why startups fail. And so I'm glad to hear that you all did some version of it and that you recognize the value of it. And market research doesn't need to be one and done. You can go back now and you can do more market research, especially if you're wanting to expand your products or change your pricing or break into a new region. You would go out and do some market research first, and before you put all the time and the money into that. So the next thing I'd like to talk about is maybe what are some of the hardest things that you faced that you weren't really expecting, and how did you overcome them? Let's talk about some of the challenges. Like you are on the road, you have your idea, you're building it, and then wham, something like these challenges just come up that you're not expecting. So who would like to share about one of these? Go ahead, Huda.
Thank you. Yeah, so there were so many challenges, and of course there are still. Every day we face new challenges, which is fine. It's part of the whole journey. At the beginning, the hardest thing for me was how to, I want to create high quality products that are nicely made, that people would buy even without a second thought. So of course, for that, I need high quality materials. So unfortunately, we didn't have these raw materials in the region or in Iraq in general. So it was one of the biggest challenges to find the right supplier. And when you find the right supplier, suddenly they are out of stock and you need to find another supplier. So what I learned throughout the process is I need to always have plan 1, B, C, and even D, just in case. During coronavirus time, so many of my suppliers, they were all out of stock. And that was a disaster because I'm depending on them. So, and my problem was because I had only one supplier. But of course, lesson learned. Now I have 3-4 suppliers for every single thing that I'm using. So that was one of the challenges. Another challenge that I didn't expect, which was to be one woman show. So you have to do so many things since you are a startup owner. You have to do finance, you have to do marketing, you have to do, you have to have good networking, so many things on the plate that you had to do it. Of course, eventually with time, these tasks, you have to give it to your staff. But at the beginning, it was one of the challenges that you don't know how to trust the capacity or the ability of the people that they are with you to help you. So you need to give yourself the chance and to give them the chance that together with the right team that you can do it all together and separate the tasks. So these were really challenging things that I faced. Right. I didn't expect that I would face, yeah.
I think for me, it's probably the number one reason why I would not be an entrepreneur. And I highly respect entrepreneurs is because I don't want to have to do all the marketing and the finance and the sales and talk to investors and build a product and find suppliers and pay the bills and recruit a team, right? It's just,
Oh, yes.
you know, it's like you have these beautiful ideas and these things that you want to take to market, but oftentimes entrepreneurs don't realize like you have to learn all these hats before you can get successful enough to hire people to do those for you. So definitely. And who else? How about Dia or Lana? We're going to talk about a challenge that you were not expecting that you had to overcome.
I just would like to add something to what Huda said. Like she really summed up all these problems, that there is a lot of load on one person, especially at the beginning, before one starts to understand to navigate the work process to other people who are in it. The motivation to keep going on, because it is sometimes extremely overwhelming. And sometimes there is so much work to do that there is no free time and there is no resting. And also, like when it's nighttime, this here is not stopping to work. And there is like so many other thoughts that are keeping you busy. And sometimes, of course, you are not really selling, and then you are like, why I am doing this? Or right. There are these difficult moments where one starts to doubt, like, oh, my life would be much easier if I just work for someone from 9 to 5, and then I'm free and my salary is fixed and that's it. So sometimes there is this down part where you are not motivated, where you really start to doubt your work. So one needs to be patient, definitely. And sometimes it depends on the project, depends on how much money there is. It needs a half year, it needs 1 year, sometimes it needs 2 years, sometimes it needs 5 years. It depends really on the circumstances, on the project, the product, and the financial ability that one has, etc. But this is actually really the biggest challenge, to keep up yourself being motivated in this and believing in yourself and in your work to continue. So
is there something that
everybody will face?
Is there something that you would do or look at to help motivate you when you would get down in these really hard places? Like, what was it that would pull you back and keep you going?
For me personally, it's the interaction with my customers, because I see the joy in them when they play the game, and this is like a huge motivation where I know it just needs more time. I just need a little bit more financial input into make the awareness more, etc. But this reflection from the customers makes me sure that I'm doing the right thing and I'm going the right direction. Okay. And then I sometimes think of Bill Gates, who started in his garage and took years to start his business. So I'm like, okay, I need just time and being patient.
Very good. And how about you, Dia? Can you think about what's one of the biggest challenges that you faced and how did you overcome it?
The biggest challenge for me is I can't find it. I couldn't find it, a glass bottle, and I searched it everywhere, and we don't have any factory who made it a glass bottle, and I didn't want to order from other country. This is the biggest challenge that I faced too.
Yes, and were you able to find them in the country?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Good. That's great. So there's like, I just want to have everybody think about, there is no reason why these products won't become very good, well-known products across the MENA region and beyond. Like, there's nothing stopping Lala candles or the Herbalum games or the apple cider. Like, there's no reason why these cannot be well-known products available all throughout. There's nothing that says this is just a local business and it's only going to ever stay local. Like, you have all businesses start this way. They all start local and they all get known locally, and then they grow and then they grow and then they expand. And then you have distributors, and then you have others that's selling your products for you in other regions, in other countries. So all three of these products are completely viable products. There's no reason why any of these will stay just local, and they all have that ability to grow. So if you're somebody from outside of the country and you would like to see some of these products in your country or in your region, then definitely reach out to us. You can reach out to TAKWEEN on social media anytime. We're always watching and answering questions that come up. If any of these sound interesting to you, there are many, many large manufacturers of candles, of games, of food products, healthy ciders. So there's no reason why these won't be on the shelf right next to all the others. So I really am inspired by the products that you're making, and that they're coming from the Kurdistan region in Iraq, and that they have that potential to grow. There's nothing that's holding you from keeping you right in one spot. So next, I'd like to talk about mentors or other female founders. Like, how long did you run as a business before you met another female founder that you could bounce ideas off of, or until you found a strong, supportive mentor? And how did that relationship start? We could start with Dia.
Actually, I started the relationship with these women's founders at the events of selling local products and having a good relationship, and they advised me, those who had already their business, and in WhatsApp we are contacting and tell each others if anyone of us need help.
Great, thank you. And how about you, Lana?
Actually, Huda is, for example, one of those who were my first discoveries of these female founders here, because I just launched my product, and she and a few other beautiful women were starting this expo where they were selling local products done by here. And they invited me to participate there too. And I was like the last minute person that they put in. And I'm happy to this day for this opportunity, because I'm in really good contact to all of them. And I'm very, very proud of what they established, because they brought all these young entrepreneurs and small businesses together and created this network that gives a very healthy environment for people who start their business, because we all know it's very difficult to go to the market and there's like a high competition, but they started kind of to build up a community where you don't have this aggressive competition or something like this, but instead of each other support. Beautiful here.
I don't know if this is on my end or her end. Part of the joys on her end, part of the joys of running a business in Iraq, right? We have the internet challenges, yes, and power outages, and
internet is unstable. I'm sorry.
That's all right. We're doing great so far. None of us have had the power go out. So very good. And
so, yeah, this network is an amazing thing. And so for me also, like, Huda started very earlier with her project. So she is someone I look up to, actually, because I see how hard she's working, and also that she's bringing all these others together and cooperate with others. She is walking for us a journey that we need to follow up.
Oh, that's nice. Very nice. And Huda, how about you? Where did you find your first mentors or other female founders?
Thank you, Lana, for all the nice things you said. And indeed, I love the network that we have now. For me, when I started in 2017, I was lucky that I started with 3-4 other females who were actually my friends. It was the same period that the 4 of us or the 5 of us, we wanted to have our own businesses, each in their own specific interest. Mine was candles. I had my friends from the Dali store, jewelry. Then we have RJ Fabrics, and everyone, we wanted to do something. So I had that network that everyone wants to start, and we started, and then we strengthened that network. Slowly, when the business was settling and we were going into the market, we thought of, okay, why not to know other people? Why not to bring other people into the same network that only the 3 or 4 of us have it? Indeed, before coronavirus, it was in 2018, we arranged the Startup Expo. It was a unique experience. We chose, it was only us. It wasn't, a place that arranged the event. It was us. We arranged the event. We received a nice fund from a specific place, and we had 22 other entrepreneurs, males and females, all coming from Suleymania, Duhok, and Erbil. And we built up that network and to know each other. We contacted some people that we didn't know. It was through the social media pages that we know all this exists. So that was the start. We created the network. And of course, from there, from these 22, each one of them, they introduced us to other people that they know. Either they were stakeholders, either they were other startups, inspiring people, mentors that we could learn from. So that was the start, how we could create that network. And we still have it, although life is now very busy and everyone is somewhere, and the coronavirus, the whole thing didn't end yet. But we are still keeping that network online, let's say, through events like this, through so many programs. And I really value this network that we have, because it is benefiting everyone.
Yeah. It's very good. It's really nice to have that support of like-minded people around you, so that you have that everybody's trying to build businesses. They have ideas, they have leads, they have support, and they believe in you instead of doing it all by yourself and being surrounded by those who don't believe in your vision and don't believe in entrepreneurship. It makes it much, much harder. So let's talk about some of the other programs. So if there's people in the audience or people watching and listening to the recording, and they want to know, well, where do I go now? TAKWEEN mentioned that they work with startups that are already existing. So where would you recommend them to start if they have an idea or they're by themselves and they're trying to figure out, how do I turn this idea into a business? And I have no money, but I have an idea. What should I do next? So some of you went to some other programs first. Let's hear about what kind of advice or suggestions you can give to those who are at that very early stage. We can start with Dia.
And my advice for this who's starting their business?
Yes.
My advice for them is the important thing is to love the things which they want to do, and they have the interest on that. For me, apple cider vinegar is in a healthy field. Before starting apple cider vinegar, I had a page of healthy food, and I have a really interesting in this field. So my advice for this is to have the interest of this who want to start it for their business.
Okay, great. And others? How about Lana?
Before one goes to such a program, it also depends on what product they have. I think it's really best to work first in a place where it is in the area where one wants to go, to just have experiences. Like, it really depends on the work experience of the person. because I really believe you need somehow to have experiences in sales, in business, in sales, or in a shop, or whatever, depending on your business that you want to start. Then to look forward for a program to get trainings, because you need to really know, do I really like to do this 24/7, yani for a couple years in my life? So because to only have an idea is something, but also being in this business is a different thing. So the safest thing is really, first of all, to, depending if you have a physical product that you want to sell, maybe first of all, be a salesperson somewhere for 1 month, for 2 months, whatever, just to understand how it is to sell a product to a real human being face to face. And then looking for programs. There is also, like, as you mentioned, 5-1 Labs or Orange Corner. They are quite a little bit different, but they have, like, because it's the same business idea that you need to learn. But I also recommend many people to look at YouTube. There are a lot of good videos that talk about these different things, if it's finance or sales or social media management, whatever. One can learn a lot. Of course, a program is much better because there is structure, there is somebody you can talk to and get feedback, and this will be, of course, much more better than a YouTube channel. But there is the possibility out there.
Great, thank you, thanks. And how about you, Huda?
I think Lana and Dia, they put it in a very nice way, but I would add also that they make sure that beside the passion and the love they have for that business they want to start is actually the need of the market for that product or that service they're bringing, because that need will define the sustainability of the business itself. So if there is need for that specific product or service, then you can, I wouldn't say guarantee, but you can have certainty that this business will be a sustainable one. It will not be only a few years idea or business or show. So that will be the only thing I would add.
Great. Okay, thanks so much. I just want to go ahead and let everyone know, the participants here in Zoom and those that are watching on Facebook, if you have any questions, to go ahead and post your questions. If you're in the Zoom session, use the Q&A option to post a question. And if you're on Facebook, you can put your question in the comments. If it's given to us while we're still live, we'll work on addressing it for you live. If not, we'll catch it later and reply in the comments. Next, I'd like to talk a little bit about TAKWEEN. You've all gone through the TAKWEEN program. Can you share something about what you learned or what you changed in your business from the experience? Like, was it worth your time and effort to be in the TAKWEEN program? We asked a lot of you. You spent a lot of hours with us. We asked you to do a lot of homework and a lot of assignments. So now what? Now that you're on the other side of that, what has changed? And would you recommend it for others? What did you take away from that? We can start with Lana.
For me, like, the best part of the program that I had a very shorter one than Huda, for example, had. And I just always saw oh my God, there's so much more to learn, because the short time cannot cover everything that is needed. And even also a longer program cannot cover everything that you need, but also life cannot ever make you sure you have everything that you need. But what I liked was the go-to-market strategy session. This made me really decide to change many things in the work I do. And I made a rebranding. I started a new website. I started to make a complete new brand identity. And I worked in the past 2 months on new social media content that I professionally organize now. so that it will be launched by November, I hope. I pushed it a little bit back because I needed like really to work on it, that it's working fine and the way how I wanted it. But the go-to-market strategy helped me out, like how do I need to present the brand, the product.
Oh, it's sticking again. Sorry, Lana, it's sticking. How about you, Dia? Can you talk a little bit about your experience with TAKWEEN and what you have changed?
When I participated in TAKWEEN, I didn't know how to market strategy very well. In TAKWEEN, I learned so many things to market strategy, as Lana said before. It was a very good experience for me, which I participated, because market strategy is a very important piece of business. This is the close of your business, which is, you need to do it in a very good way, in a very good way. Yes.
Great, thank you. And how about you, Huda?
Yeah, I've said it in so many occasions and in so many meetings when I meet people. For me, TAKWEEN Accelerator was another level of knowledge. I've been to so many other programs before TAKWEEN. However, in TAKWEEN, first of all, the whole materials, the whole program itself, it's heavy, it's serious. You have to, you have to be like a real student. You're taking your classes. So I really enjoyed it in that way. What I have learned, of course, now I have I would say there isn't a perfect pitch. However, it's one of the best outcomes I came out with. A very good professional pitch that I can pitch anywhere to anyone. And also I learned to think big, to not just stay local, to think international, to think bigger, to think with numbers, big numbers. And also that I can't be doing everything alone. I have to do it with other people. I have to depend on other staff members. So these things, you absolutely need someone to, of course, with experience you learn. However, you need someone to show it to you. And in my case, it was TAKWEEN. So I have been really lucky to be a part of it and to learn all the things that I have learned and all the knowledges that I have gained through it. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Thank you. So we have a couple of questions that came in. One of them is, how do you collect data for marketing when you're in Kurdistan? So I think Huda talked a little bit about just asking friends, asking her network, and doing a little bit in social media. Could any of you talk more about how you collected your marketing data? Like, how did you do? Did you use surveys? Did you use friends only? Which platforms did you use? That type of thing.
I go. In my case, I went to so many universities because that was one of the good places where you get crowds of people together. You get big numbers of people, students, staff. So I visited so many universities. It was two-in-one thing. One, to market for my business, to talk about it and to tell them. And the other one was actually to collect data and to understand from people and ask questions. And sometimes I actually did written surveys where I was giving out papers. Please just answer by yes or no, color, sense, or whatever. Easy things, just ticking so that they don't get bored. So that was one of the ways. As I mentioned, social media, I was doing surveys on social media throughout the networks that I know. The markets or the expos, the events that I was taking part in, they were also amazing to collect data to understand what people prefer. So through observing their preferences in these expos where I participated in the market, local bazaars. They were opportunities to understand people's preferences and needs. And it was kind of a very good way to do surveys with them, even sometimes without them knowing that you are collecting these data. It's hard, it's not easy, but this is one of the ways that I have to do it. So this is how I did it.
That's great. Very good. Thank you. Anybody else want to add any other comments around collecting marketing data? She was very ambitious and really put herself out there, which is what you need to do. It's the hardest part. So like if you go to Y Combinator or one of these other great big, accelerators that you hear about, that they're international and you get flown into Silicon Valley, one of the things they make you do is go out on the sidewalk in the middle of California and ask total strangers to complete surveys, because they need you to get out of that fear of doing that, right? And it doesn't have to be about your own business. It could just be about, do you like chewing gum, right? They just make them get out of their comfort zone and be out there and stand on the sidewalk and ask people as they're going by these questions. So it takes a tremendous amount of courage to do that, but the value of it is really, really high. So we have one last question that came in, and it's about where do I find ideas to start a business? So I want to start a business, but I need an idea. Like, where should I go to get an idea? Would any of you like to try to answer that? I have some ideas in my head, but I want to ask you first if you have some advice that you would give.
The idea to getting out the idea of business is searching for you are interested on what, follow your dreams. You are good at what, not following this business making more money. Follow your interesting on what.
It's excellent advice.
Yes.
Yeah. So I talk a lot about the difference between people who want to make money and people who are entrepreneurs. They're very different. Like, entrepreneurs obviously want to make money eventually, but that entrepreneur mindset is around, I want to solve a problem for a lot of people. And then if I make money, that's awesome. Versus a different mindset is, I want to make money. I don't care who, how, where, or if it's solving a problem, right? It's just, I want to make money. What can I do to make money? And I understand it. Obviously, everyone in the world wants to make money, but that entrepreneur mindset is around, I want to solve a problem for a lot of people. I'm passionate about this thing, and I think that it will solve problems for a lot of people. So there's a little bit of a difference in those mindsets, and we actually ask a lot of questions during our interviews to bring you into TAKWEEN, specifically around trying to find that difference, because many startups will fail, but if you train entrepreneurs, they will keep going and they will succeed, because they have that mindset of, I need to develop, I need to create solutions, I need to help people with solutions, right? So if you go ahead, Lana.
I just wanted to say, like, actually to start my own business here, is my internet okay? Okay. Is actually the best base here right now, because there are a lot of problems that needed to be solved. And this is the right time actually to come up with ideas and to try yourself out. While in other countries, the system is already so much established that it's very difficult to come with innovative ideas. So that's the same with the delivery service. Like 3 years ago, everybody would laugh at you to say, I will start a delivery service. And now it's one of the most important things to ship also things, because you can order something and in 2 hours it's there, while before you need to pick it up by yourself or send a taxi driver. So there was a big problem that was solved by it, and now everybody is used to it. But 3 years ago, nobody believed in this idea. So we have actually a very good condition to have a lot of problems that needs to be solved and to make into a business.
Very true. So think about what is happening in the country where you don't have what's available in other countries. Like right now in Iraq, what's missing? What's available in other countries that's not available in Iraq? And what is not already being addressed? Like we already have like now 4 or 5 delivery services. So let's move a little bit beyond that, right? And think a little bit bigger. That's a great entry point and it's a great example, but we don't want to just copy and just become another delivery service. So think about some of the other things that are missing. Like what do you hear about in TV shows or radio shows and podcasts and oil, gas, electricity, solar systems, clean water, agriculture, using AI, using robotics, like what's missing here in Iraq that you hear about that's happening in other places, and how can you bring that into Iraq and make it a viable business here? So with that, we're out of time. I want to thank all of you so much for being here. It's just been a real pleasure to see you all again and get a chance to visit with you, and hope the audience enjoyed the conversation. And we'll see you again soon in some other forum, I'm sure. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Oh, wait, one more thing. I'm sorry. Where can we find you? If the audience would like a candle or a game or some apple cider, where do they go? Please put it in the comments. I think you are allowed to, in chat, you're allowed to select everyone. Go ahead and put in your URLs of where people can go. Maybe it's your Instagram or it's your Facebook. Let's make sure we get them in there. And then also I'll have you call them out. So we'll start with Huda. Where do we go to get candles?
So basically they can visit our social media platforms, Lala Candles, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. They can find us there. They can also check Lezo application in local startup section. We are there. As selling points, we are in Erbil in 4 different places, in Bakhtiari, Golan Street, in Arif Cafe, and Hopeful Hands shop. And in Baghdad as well, we are at Arif Cafe, so they can find us. But it will be so much easier if they could check our social media on Instagram and our website, lalacandles.com, and they can get more information from there.
Ah, that's great. Good, good. Go ahead and put your handles in the comments. And Dia, for you, is your handle Dia's Healthy World, or is your handle different?
Okay, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook's DS Healthy World, and at the email www.dshealthyworld.com.
Excellent, very
you can
good.
send us the message, and we all sending you the apple cider vinegar.
Oh, excellent. Okay. And how about you if I need to buy a game, Lana?
So of course on social media, Instagram and Facebook, Urbillum, which is also the oldest name of Erbil, so you can memorize it. Selling point, it's Hopeful Hands, where also other like Huda are presented, other small startups. Then the Bus Cafe on Ghazali Street. And in Suli, we are available on Jan Breakfast Cafe, and also at Nachesh, where they are making their own clothing, and they have also a few selected local products which are also presented there. And in Baghdad at the station, and I hope soon we will have more cities and also more selling points. And of course, Lezo application, where you get it delivered to your house.
Excellent. Oh, I'm so glad. It's so wonderful. So everyone out there, go out and buy yourself a candle, a game, and some cider vinegar. Every household needs all 3. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.